Hey guys, welcome back to a very new edition of What You Should Be Watching with me, Brad Fitzpatrick, and my ever so glorious co-host, Zach Washburn. Say hi, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Today we're going to be doing animated Disney movies. Now, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but me and Zach, at our very core, are just big children.
Pretty
Very,
much.
very big children. And we love cartoons. Always have.
Yeah.
So this special episode is one we're going to devote to specifically animated Disney movies. We do
Excluding
know,
Pixar.
yeah,
Pixar don't
excluding Pixar, because those have some really good movies. We'll go over that at a later date. We'll also do the live actions because Disney's redoing all their stuff in live action movies. You know. But Zach, I have a question before we get started. You know they're coming out with the new Lion King. Would you consider
Yeah.
that live action or still animated?
It's live action. Even though it's all CGI, it's still a live action remake.
But it's all animated.
Not all, because the landscape is real.
Is it though?
Yes.
Is it though?
Yes.
Okay, well we'll
Isn't
agree to
it?
we'll agree to disagree there. All right.
Isn't it though?
No, I mean I no
I've seen trailers and the landscape looks real.
I mean how do you think they do most movies when they CGI the background?
But they didn't CGI the background there. I mean, maybe some of it, but a lot of it is real landscape.
How do
And
you think they do when they
I-
CGI the background of anything? Click click, and they were gonna do it.
But it's still real.
Okay. All right, but without further ado, we'll get into that one in argument off camera.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, what is your number 5 Disney animated movie?
Well, first I want to. I have a friend here with me who's gonna just pop in and say hello real quick.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Hi, Brad. It's me, Mickey Mouse.
It's the owner himself. The one that holds...
I sure am glad you're gonna do an episode of Disney movies.
So am I.
Miska, Muska, Mickey Mouse.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I know, we both have small children, and
Yeah.
we both have watched Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
That's all Mickey is now. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Yeah. Nobody knows about his iconic cartoons he did. So sad.
I mean, hopefully there's at least one on our list we might be talking about.
Yeah. Not me.
What?
No.
Okay. That makes me kind of sad.
If we ever do an animated television show, maybe then.
Yeah. But I mean, there's one movie that they did that has Mickey Mouse pretty prolific in it.
I know. But it's not on my list.
Okay.
So without further ado, number 5 on my list is one of the lesser knowns, I think, but my favorite, The Great Mouse.
Yep.
It was their animated take on Sherlock Holmes, played by mice, and I thought it was awesome.
It is. It's actually one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
Absolutely loved it. But of course, I love every iteration of Sherlock Holmes to date.
he's a great character. He's an iconic character, and Disney's always trying to do iconic characters in their own light, and
Hmm.
I think they really did a good job.
I think so too. I love the animation quality of it as well. For being a movie that was made back in the 80s, I think it really heralded in a lot of the newer animation styles
Yeah.
that came in kind of after it and around it. When Disney was doing really booming in the animation business at that point. So I think it's a fantastic movie. It's a fantastic movie. Good choice for your number
Right.
for your number 5,
Right, he made that movie.
right?
Yeah.
So very, very good choice. What about your number?
Thank you.
What about your number 4?
Moving on to number 4. First of the classics,
Mm.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yep. Okay, I
The
guess.
animated version, of course. This is one of those I watched over and over as a kid. I think it's one of the most, magical fantasy type as far as Disney. I know they're really big on that, but this
Yeah.
really takes you to another world. I mean, it had a slightly different take on Lewis Carroll's classic, but it still kept a lot of the core values of the book.
Right.
I really like the way they did it.
I mean, it's I love the original book, love the original story. Lots of things had changed from the book for the movie, but I mean, it made it for a more younger crowd, but still like very iconic. Like I think I was even discussing it with my daughters the other day. Plus, I quote it all the time.
Yeah,
The Cheshire Cat is probably the greatest emo mascot in the entirety of the universe.
I would agree. Yes,
You know?
he really is. Yeah,
Like if I ever got a tattoo other than my daughter's names, it would probably be, we're all mad here.
we're all mad here.
You know, it's just glorious. I mean,
Yeah.
he makes the entire movie for me is the Cheshire Cat and the caterpillar. The rest of it's great, but those two characters are just like, yes, so mind-bendingly LSD trip that it is awesome.
I know, right? It's so funny for a Disney movie, for Disney to take on someone who was, clearly high
Oh,
on
yeah.
drugs, and it's well known that he was high on drugs when he wrote the book.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's great.
It's fantastic, and then like sometimes around the house we'll even sing, "We're very happy on birthday."
Yeah, it's my birthday today.
Yeah. Speak about crossover characters. It is. It's your birthday today.
On birthday,
Oh,
my
I mean-
birthday.
very very happy on birthday then.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Talk about crossover characters though. The Mad Hatter. Right?
Yeah,
Probably still one of the most iconic Alice in Wonderland, characters. Just to be crossed over with Batman alone
right.
makes it amazing.
Yeah.
But I wonder how DC was able to convince Disney to allow them to use Mad Hatter. Or are those characters free reign since they were a book first?
They're free reign, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't know the
I think they're
legalese.
public domain.
I mean, they could be.
I'm pretty sure they are because, like American McGee, he had his own version.
Yeah, he did. Oh, and speaking of, they're actually making another game.
Yes, I heard. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Sounds awfully amazing because the first one was so morbidly awesome.
yeah, it was.
So great.
One of the very few games I actually got to play on PC
Mhm.
that worked on my arcade computer.
Right? But good choice for number 3 or number 4. Very, very, probably one of my favorites of all time too. So I mean, it was on my list, but I'll go ahead and remove it since you put it on yours. Okay?
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. What about your number 3? I mean, it's going to be hard to
My
top
number
Alice in
3.
Wonderland. There's
Yeah,
only
my number 3. Okay, if I were to do probably 3 classics, it would have been my 1, 2, and then 3 would have been Alice in Wonderland. However, since we're doing 5, I had to add this one and move it to number 3. This is probably my only one that's more recent,
Mhm.
part of the golden age of Disney that they call, where they did Beauty and the Beast, and Little Mermaid, Aladdin. This was one of those. But I don't think it's one of the more popular, but I loved it. The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
The best soundtrack ever in a Disney movie, I think. And it's actually one of the live-action remakes that they're doing in a few years that I'm actually looking forward to seeing, if they do it right.
Right. I mean, like, honestly, okay, so specifically, the head writer, specifically for the music in a lot of the Disney movies, both live and animated, was done by Alan Menken, right?
Right.
I think that was one of the last ones he may had done for Disney, because I can't remember if he's still alive or not. Yes, I think he is. But he's basically the one who, yeah, he is still alive. He's basically the one who wrote all the songs for pretty much every single Disney movie up until a point. And then, like, for some reason, like, it stopped. But then they brought
he
in...
did on Hunchback.
Yeah, he is on the Hunchback. I went ahead and pulled up his IMDb just to be sure. But I mean, like any of his movies are just fantastic. He's also done. Wow. I guess he is kind of still doing some music for other people though. Interesting. All right. I didn't realize he was still that prolific. But it really, Hunchback of Notre Dame was really was really one of the last Disney movies he did.
Well, I'm so glad he did, because he gave us all a treasure.
Yes. He did come back to write songs for the new live-action Beauty and the Beast and the new live-action Aladdin. Brand new songs.
Well, I hope that he does it for Hunchback, and I hope they have some of the originals in it too, because...
Oh, yeah.
And, we're talking about villains earlier, and Brad and I are thinking about doing a villain episode, but as far as Disney villains, Judge Frollo, one of the best.
I will agree with that 100%. That's probably one of the better Disney villains of all time. Like, Disney has some really good villains, though.
Oh, yeah, no question. We'd have to do a separate episode.
Yeah, just for Disney
villains.
Just for them. I mean, specifically, like.
And I think what I liked about Hunchback is, and I think a lot of people didn't like, was that it was much more adult to that point as far as Disney movies. The novel Hunchback of Notre Dame is a very adult book. It has a lot of adult themes.
Yeah.
Basically, three men are lusting after this one woman, and they put that in the movie. You have Frollo and the general, and even though the Hunchback is sweet and innocent, he's still in love with Esmeralda.
Yeah.
And just a lot of dark themes, religious themes, which they don't put in a lot of Disney movies. So it's another reason why I like it so much.
Yeah, good choice. Very, very good choice. And you're right. It is probably lesser mentioned, out of the classic ones. But
and I will say that that's one of the movies that I didn't see for a long time, because they didn't really hype it up that well as far as how Disney usually promotes.
Yeah.
Didn't get a lot of commercials, I remember, and I was like, they didn't really show the villain or the music in it. It was out for a good couple of years before I finally watched it, and I was just awestruck for the whole thing. I mean, as soon as that soundtrack hits and the bum bum bum, those three powerful notes hit you, I'm just like, I was good.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I was very good choice for number 3. Really kind of surprised me. Though I do think I can guess what your number 1 is.
You think?
I think so. I think we've talked about it before.
Well, let's go to number 2 first.
Okay. What's your number 2 then?
Well, my 1 and 2 are, yes, I have talked about them many times. 2 of my favorite classics. Watched them over and over again. But the second one is Sword in the Stone.
See, I thought that was going to be your first.
No.
Okay. It's a good thing we went to number 2 then.
Yeah.
I would have looked like a fool.
Yeah, Sword in the Stone. I can't wait to see it. They are doing a live action remake on this, right? I'm pretty sure they are. If they don't, they're stupid.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look. You have to think they've done the King Arthur tale in many different ways.
They have. If they do this one close to a scene for scene remake, it would be pretty good, and that's one that I would actually endorse.
Yes, I guess so. I guess they are.
Are they?
Disney's live-action Sword in the Stone sets date and location.
Yeah.
According to the website here, Screen Rant. So I mean,
Screen Rant's pretty reputable.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like they don't have any cast announcements yet. So nope. So I mean, obviously, I'd like to see it. I mean, Sword in the Stone is one of my favorites as well, so it's not on my list now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the wizard battle alone in the Sword in the Stone.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, Madam Mim and Merlin.
Yeah,
it was great. The wizard duel.
So fantastic.
The different animals. Yeah.
That's not exactly how a wizard duel would go, but but it
I
was
like their
fun and
version,
entertaining. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, a real wizard would set traps and and fireball somebody in the face. Yeah, I'm just
Sure.
saying. Speaking as a former wizard myself, I
Right.
yeah, have to bring out the nerd glasses and my D&D kit. Be like, this is how I would do it. But good choice for number 2. I mean, literally, I would have thought that would be your number 1.
Do you know
So
my
the-
number one now?
I no, I mean maybe it's probably one that's going to be on my list too. So
You can keep them on there, Brad.
I mean, look, I'm going to try because there's lots of them that are good. So I'm going to try to facilitate a different change. So, what is your number 1 then? That's better than the Sword and the Stone.
My number one, it is hard sometimes to pick, but I finally had to put it in cement, which one's going to be number one. But number one is Robin Hood.
Yep, exactly. That's what I thought. If Sword and the Stone was your number 2, then of course Robin Hood would be your number 1.
They're the two quintessential for me. The Robin Hood, another great soundtrack.
Yes.
Uh,
Sorry to interrupt you there, but I would love to see them do this Robin Hood in the way of the new Lion King, where everything's CGI, but do it like that.
I see what you're saying, and if they're going to do that, that would be fine. But Robin Hood, now that is one that has been way overdone.
Yeah, obviously.
They've already done numerous live-action versions.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I'm sure they will. Disney is going to remake everything, I guess, in live action.
Well, there's only one other Robin Hood movie, which is the greatest Robin Hood movie of all time.
What would you say?
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Okay, yeah.
That's it.
See, I like Prince of Thieves. I thought it was.
I mean,
good.
yeah, if we're going to go serious, Prince of Thieves is good,
Yeah.
but Men in Tights, come on, man.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I think it was actually closer to the Disney version than any of the others because they actually had, they actually had Prince John in it and the sheriff.
Yep.
You know.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. Very good choice for a number 1. Like really, like it would probably been my number 2,
Well, they're going to think you're old, rethink your whole numerical order.
Yeah, pretty much. But my number 5 stays the same.
Okay.
Okay? So, like, my number 5 is even earlier than any of yours you mentioned. Okay?
Okay.
The Adventures of Ichabod Crane.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Toad.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Such a, like iconic talking about the Headless Horseman and stuff. Because you know me, I'm always dark and brooding and depressed and everything else that everybody knows. But such a, and me, as a childhood, like a lot of the stuff that happened and that like still was like very scary for,
Sure.
Back when Disney was like, no, we are for kids, but we don't care. we're gonna scar these kids. We don't care. It's good. It's okay. And I mean that's true. If you take a look at some of the older Disney movies and stuff like that, even the live action ones, like some of them were
Absolutely. Watcher in the Woods.
yeah. I mean, like really, some of them are really But Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, like really good, really good movie. Really kind of like set up the stone for me for my Disney life. And from there, it was like, oh, they kind of went a different route. They didn't keep the dark tone in a lot of things, except for certain like Alice in Wonderland, where things were just different and off, and became like to me probably one of my number 1s. Would have been my number 1 in reality, next to Sword and the Stone. But my number 5, my number 4, on the other hand, is a little bit kind of a different take. I know it's not on yours, but Fantasia. Absolutely loved Fantasia. The music in it. It really wasn't. There really wasn't like a lot of story, I guess you could say, in it. But the music in it just captured me, and I can watch it the entire time. The dark scene and everything with the
Yeah.
big giant black, and you saw like
Yeah.
so good.
Did you like Fantasia 2000?
I did. It was good. It
Yeah.
was good. I don't think they updated a lot of the graphics and stuff like that, but to me, I don't think it was as good as the original.
No.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
Um, and like I absolutely just adored that movie.
Fantasia, good choice. Yeah, I love Fantasia.
The music, like I said, is just one of my favorites. My number three though. My number three brings it back to, we'll say, the golden era, the classics, as you would say, with all the elements. Mulan. And I loved Mulan. Don't give me that. No, Mulan was great. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like me, I love Asian. I love martial arts,
Right.
and it really was.
It didn't have a lot of martial arts in it.
It did. It had an entire training sequence where they were all training in
They were all
martial
training,
arts.
but they didn't really use it.
When you're in war, are you going to use like stylized martial arts? No. Okay then. That's what I'm saying. But like it really was. It was kind of because it really was kind of steeped in like Asian history because it's based on a true story.
Right.
Because Mulan was real. She
Another
did.
shitty remake they're doing.
Yeah. They are doing a live action remake, which would
Yeah.
be nice. I'll probably watch it because I have watched every live action remake so far, and they've been really good. I still say Beauty and the Beast live action remake is probably my favorite.
It was good.
I cried at the end, like that new song that he sings at the end. Like I was bawling,
Yeah.
like just like child bawling.
Bless your heart.
I know. It made me feel like all that love stuff, and I was like, I wish I had it at the time. but no, like I really liked Mulan. Mulan as a movie is probably my number three. Classic era. Yeah. Number two. Now, my number two is going to go to a movie that I absolutely loved. Okay, from the beginning. Number one beginning. And I think you probably liked it too if you saw it. But it's Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like Wreck-It Ralph.
The newer ones, even number two that just came out, which is really good, it still doesn't beat the first one. The first one is fantastic. Wreck-It Ralph number one is it's great with its, symbolism and its characters, and, even though there's not like music in it like they used to be, like Alan Menken and stuff like that, it still was great. But one of my favorites, because I am a gamer, heavy.
Oh sure. Yeah.
You know.
It's really one for the new age.
Yeah.
The new age group too. I like it, especially the second one where they got on the internet.
hmm But I mean, like talk about social media and stuff like that on the second one was really kind of funny. It was really cool. But that's one of my that's my number two. I love to watch that movie anytime it comes on. John C. Reilly, I absolutely love him in every single serious role he plays. When he plays, the comedy roles, I don't like him very much.
Really?
Yeah. I watch it, but it's not like okay. There's a movie that just came out that I have not watched yet, but I am going to watch it like soon. I have it ready to watch. It's called Stan and Ollie.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he's in it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and
It's about
Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, that's
Yeah, it looks good. It looks really good.
it does. Like, and I love Keegan, I believe is what his name is. The other guy that is opposite.
Yeah.
But it looks to be a really great movie. One of them I can't wait to watch. I just haven't had time. And it's not something my kids would watch because it's more drama. It's about their lives, not about like, the
Right.
funny, slapstick comedy. Okay. All right. Before I hit my number one though, I'd like to give a couple of honorable mentions.
Sure.
I'll go back to Dumbo. The basic part in Dumbo is the clown scene. The LSD trip, Elephants on Parade, okay?
Pink elephants. Yeah.
Yes. Like, oh. That part still gets me. I'm just like,
What the hell?
but it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Tangled, being the very first one where they brought back actual singing, really kind of, you know, like I don't know, like opened up. They're like, oh well, this is exactly what Disney, has come back to be. Because I mean, they made a whole bunch of movies in between the Golden Age and like Tangled, and they couldn't really catch their stride between them, in my opinion anyway. Like some of them were really good, like Meet the Robinsons and Bolt and stuff like that. But I think when they
Right.
brought back Tangled and they actually brought back, the music, it really kind of caught its stride again. And now they were able to like pick up and go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then they brought out Moana, which is also another honorable mention. Moana was fantastic.
It was pretty good.
I hadn't enjoyed a Disney movie as much as I enjoyed that movie in a long time.
Yeah.
But my number one Disney movie, animated movie of all time, is actually a newer movie too. Big Hero 6.
Oh yeah.
Love that movie. So fantastic. And the symbolism in that movie is so great. So
Big Hero
great.
6 at Pixar.
No, it's Disney. I made sure. I looked it up. Zach.
Okay.
Okay? It is Disney. It is a Disney
I
movie.
know it's Disney, but is it Disney Pixar?
Um, I don't know. I can look that up real quick. Let's look up the IMDb
No, no,
for
no.
it.
You're right. Okay, it's just Disney.
I mean, but
You are forgiven.
okay, thank you. Like I tried to look it up. I mean, I wanted to make sure.
Sometimes it's hard to tell because they do a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah. Specifically, once Pixar hit the scene and really kind of like sailed away with that sort of animation style. Like, people mistake the two. But no, like Big Hero 6, like I loved it. I cried. Another movie that I cried at because I'm a big sap when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
um,
It's called having feelings, Brad. It's not a crime to show them, even though you're a man.
to tell that to my ex, but
Yeah, tell it to my ex.
yeah. So, but
She will
no,
eat your heart.
and not in a good way like Hannibal Lecter, but but no, like Big Hero 6 was really really fantastic to me. Like I
I
love
did.
all the characters, the superhero aspect of it, making them into superheroes to do their thing. I thought that was fantastic, and then just the semblance behind it. Like him having to basically grow up.
Right.
The loss of his brother, his super genius brother, the realization that he is just as smart, if not smarter than his brother, but not realizing that he could fill those shoes as well as he could. Such a good movie. I may actually have to watch that again soon.
Yeah, it's good. Um, I have an honorable mention now too. So I want you to finish your list.
No, please go ahead. That's it.
Okay, my honorable mention is going to be The Emperor's New Groove.
All right.
It was just so funny and it was so different that when Disney put that out, then it had been a long time. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in a Disney movie.
That is kind of one of the funniest, in my opinion, Disney movies.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And usually they're really good about mixing it in with the drama and the magic but this was just a straight comedy and it was really great.
Yeah, like there are so many iconic moments from that movie too,
Oh yeah.
and the voice acting though, like David
Oh,
Spade as the Emperor.
Yeah, John Goodman and
Yeah.
I forget her name, but whoever played Yzma, the old Catwoman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's
And then God, the guy who played Kronk, he's
yeah,
damn it.
the guy from Family Guy played Tick.
Yeah. Oh, I cannot remember his name now. Let me look at Patrick Warburton.
Yes,
That's it.
of course, he was so popular, he got his own spin-off movie. And
Yep.
I think that needed to be mentioned. And I was going to put it on the list, but just couldn't put it in there. But,
Yeah. There's so many good ones. It's like so many good ones. And I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see some of the other live action ones. You know, we got to start talking about this because I did see the live action Aladdin, but we wanted to do animated without involving the live action version. So, the live action Aladdin was great. I don't think it was good as the Beauty and the Beast, which I had said, but they added some new stuff, and I think Will Smith did a decent job as the genie. Like he's not the genie of our hearts,
No,
but he did a decent job.
that's good.
And the one thing I noticed though, like I don't know if you know, like you know who Sarah Michelle Gellar is, right?
Yes.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The girl that they got to play Jasmine
Yeah.
is like an Indian version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like just the lines on her face is almost identical to a young Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I can see that. Yeah.
I was watching the movie and I was like, Buffy?
Like her mannerisms too and stuff. Or?
Yeah, just the way her whole facial expressions, like the curves on her face, like everything. Just like if you look at her at a certain angle, it's almost like they spray painted her brown. Which is don't get me wrong, because she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
When she popped out first in her like she comes out first as Princess Jasmine in like this really like very like rhinestone jeweled studded red dress, and I was like, oh. So I'm just
Boing.
in a group of children under the age of 10. So yeah, she's of age.
I haven't been a fan of the remakes. Like I said, there are a few that I'm looking forward to, but they're a ways off yet.
Right. Well, that seems to be the bell. I have to go. So we're not going to have enough time to finish our goodbyes. But remember, guys, always be kind to each other, and I will see you in the next video. Along with that.